So simulation theory is something very interesting. Living in the Matrix and all that, but it's very controversial, and it seems like a conspiracy theory, and it does seem very unlikely. But I'll tell you why it's more likely than you would think, because it is very likely that if humanity develops far enough to create simulations, if we can create simulations, and we create, let's say, two different simulated worlds, and we make the assumption that there's just one real world, that means we are statistically more likely to be living in a simulation, even if we only make two simulated worlds. And that's why I think that we should not make any simulated worlds, right? Because if we make the assumption there's at least two simulated worlds, at the least 2 to 3, and there's at least one real world, then it is far more likely, well, not far more likely, that we are living in one of the two simulated worlds. And if we have tens, even thousands of individual simulated worlds that are apart from each other, then it is vastly more likely, it's 1 in 1,000, that we would be in the real world. Now, if we never end up making any simulated realities, if that proves to be impossible, then yes, that facet to simulation theory would be disproven. But I think it is very likely. I think it's the direction we're going in, that we do create simulated worlds. I think that's just going to end up happening. If we create multiple simulated worlds, then it's just more likely. I think it's a really fascinating thought experiment. Do I really believe that we would be living in a simulated reality? In a way, I don't believe it really matters, because reality is unexpectedly subjective. And if we are living in a simulation and it feels real to us, what's the difference, right? What's the issue? Then would it be considered real? This really gets into what is considered real. Can we really say there is just one real reality, right? If everything feels real to us, is it real? Is this Canna Sprite real because I'm holding it? I can drink from it, even if it's a simulation. But can it be considered real? What is reality? And that's not a question that I'm going to attempt to answer in this video, because it's subjective. There's no objective answer to what reality is, in my opinion. And to me, reality is, this is just from my perspective. It's insanely subjective. My views about what is reality is no more objective than my views on if I like a movie or not, really. Anything I can see, touch, interact with can be considered real. If our minds create our own reality, and if my mind creates this reality that this Sprite can exist, as far as I'm concerned, it exists. But really, that is as subjective as whether I like a movie or not. So that's why I believe in simulation theory. But if we do live in a simulation, I don't really think it'd matter that much. If I woke up tomorrow and I figured out we're absolutely living in a simulation, I don't think I'd care that much, because, in my opinion, that would make this can of Sprite no more real than it already, no less real than it would be otherwise. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Make sure to game, don't sleep, repeat. Make sure to invest in Gamecoin. Make sure to game to the moon. And most importantly, make sure to game on gamers.